South Sudan got up by as many as 16 points. There's been a lot going on there. But LeBron James ultimately made a driving layup with 8 seconds left to prevent what would have been a historic upset, and Team USA escaped with a 101-100 victory. Here's Anthony Edwards and LeBron on the win.
Almost a miracle win for South Sudan, but you managed to stay there. What was the key for you guys?
LeBron James. Yeah, pretty much just LeBron.
To be honest, I like those ones better than the blowouts. At least we get tested. I like getting tested, man. Put the closure on. I like being tested. Those are the best ones.
There he is, my favorite world traveler. Where in the world is Brian Windhorst? Windy, let's dive right into it. What did you make of Team USA's 1-point win? What happened to our dominance in America, Windy?
Well, hello from London, Molly. You were missed. We're headed over to Paris in a couple of days. Come on over. We'll do the show from there. Just forget about Stephen A.
I told you I'd carry your bags. I'll get you your coffee. I used to be Conan O'Brien's intern, and I'm happy to be yours.
So this was a big disappointment in the first half. For Team USA on Saturday night. So just to set the scene of what was going on, they played Serbia in Abu Dhabi last week. I think Serbia is going to be the biggest challenger to them to win the gold, and we can talk about that later. But they had a really impressive win against Serbia. It really shut down Nikola Jokic in a way that I didn't expect, to the point where I was wondering if Serbia was rope-a-doping, because I was so confused by how Jokic was ineffective in that game. And I think they were sort of still living off that strong performance. And the O2 Arena here in London was amazing on Saturday night. You know, London in the summer, the weather is unbelievable. There was 15,000 people in that arena an hour beforehand. They were so hyped by Steph Curry's pregame shooting routine that Steph went ahead and dunked the ball just to fire them all up. The pregame warm-ups turned into a dunk contest, and I don't think Team USA appropriately respected South Sudan. That's the long and short of it. And they come out and they go 1 of 13 on threes, and South Sudan goes 7 of 14, and next thing you know, you're in a dogfight. The second half, Team USA was the better team by about 12 or 14 points, which is probably where they should be, but they allowed themselves to get out of position by losing focus. And there's two things with this team, Molly, that are a huge challenge. Okay. One is chemistry. They've been together for 3 weeks. They can't mimic these other teams. The second thing is you can't afford to lose your focus in a 40-minute game. You can get away with it in a 48-minute game in the NBA. You can't do it, and they learned their lesson. And one thing I'll tell you, Stephen A., the big thing I take away from this game is not how close it was. It's not about South Sudan at all. Congrats to their performance, though. It's that when Team USA was in trouble, the ball was in number 6, LeBron James's hand. When Team USA was down a point with 20 seconds left and in the huddle, and they had the board up, it was drawn up for LeBron James. Keep that in mind. The 39-year-old was the guy who bailed him out. Keep that in mind for when the games get real here coming up soon.
Yeah,
no doubt about
still got it.
Respect and credit where it's due, and we'll get into him being the flag bearer later, because that's a tremendous honor and what have you. But that is not my biggest takeaway from this game, Wendy. I'm sorry to break it down to you. My biggest takeaway from this game is that the United States, Team USA, was 7 of 25 from three-point range. It's 25%, and missed 12 of their first 15 three-point attempts. Now, I don't know when the hell this team is going to get the message. I know they won 7 of the last 8 gold medals. I get it. But my issue with Team USA is that you got to be able to shoot the damn basketball. Got to shoot the basketball. If you miss threes, and a team like South Sudan ends up making threes. I think they made 42% of their three-pointers, 14 to 33 on three-point attempts. I mean, my goodness, that can spell trouble for you. Now, I want to put this in this proper perspective, because we ain't going to let Team USA off the hook. It's an exhibition game, and you could have underestimated the competition and all that other stuff. I get all of that. Let me just throw some nuggets of facts your way, Wendy. Not that you don't know it, but I'm going to remind our audience of this. And Harry, just in case you don't know, let me throw this out for you, all right? South Sudan, they qualified because they beat 11-time African champion Angola in last year's World Cup to qualify for these Olympics, becoming the lowest-ranked team to do so since 2004. South Sudan, playing in its first Olympics, just gained independence from Sudan in 2011. Let's throw that out there, okay? Did you know this fact? Did you know this fact? There are no indoor courts. I knew there are no indoor basketball courts in South Sudan.
Wow.
Okay? So I'm looking at stuff like this. I'm looking at stuff like this. Major props to them coming out and fighting the way that they fought and what have you. But in the same breath, remember, when we defer to anything in life as the gold standard, what we're saying is that's what it's supposed to be. Not just in terms of results, but your level of focus. You see, when you have a team like the original Dream Team in Barcelona, you go with it, right? Obviously, you got NBA players playing in Olympic competition for the first time at that moment in time. They go over there to send a message. We're the best in the world. Yeah. We're here to annihilate competition and to show you what the standard is. I'm not saying in today's day that you can do that against just anybody with all the European players that have blessed the NBA. We get that part. But if you just gained independence a decade ago,
it's unbelievable.
If you don't have indoor basketball courts at your disposal,
the resources,
you understand? The resources are significantly less. You ain't supposed to be, and by the way, and you're a 43-point favorite. You ain't supposed to be winning by 1 point. So they can walk away talking about this is good for us, this is good for us. I hope so. I hope so. But that ain't what I took from it. What I took from it was, what the hell is up?
Basically, the biggest stars right now are all international players. Why? Why does that continue to happen? What's going on in the U.S.? And that's where I think the focus is.
What's the skill set? It's the skill set, like triple threat, pass, shoot, and dribble.
Is it the skill set? Is it the mindset? Because it's definitely not a resource.
Here in America, the kids are so worried about dunking and showboating when overseas, internationally, they're worried about the skills of the basketball game.
Two things can be true. We've long acknowledged the elevation of European presence in the world of basketball. It's undeniable.
It's not just European.
Okay? I'm just saying, just the world, the world. Sudan doesn't have indoor basketball courts.
Yeah, I know.
South Sudan.
That's why it's unbelievable.
South Sudan. They just gained independence in 2011. Yeah. They were a 43-point underdog. Yeah. A 1-point victory against that level of competition is not supposed to happen.
Well, I want you guys to hear what Joel Embiid had to say
game-winning basket at that
on this subject prior to that dramatic win, and about LeBron James, the elder statesman, of Team USA.
LeBron now is not the LeBron that was a couple of years ago, so it's a big difference. So the name might be there, but everybody would also tell you, and you can see for yourself, like the athletic LeBron and the dominant that he was a couple of years ago is not the same that he is now. So, yeah, I mean, I think people get fooled by the names that are on paper, but yeah, those names have been built throughout their career, and now they're older, so they're not what they used to be.
Okay, Windy. I'm tipping this subject off with you. Before I get to the question I'm supposed to ask you, just work with me here. I got to ask you this other question that just came to my mind. Why would Embiid say this?
Well, you have to, whenever you hear something like this, you have to look at the entire conversation. And this was part of a long interview, and you look at the whole thing and what he was talking about. And by the way, as an ode to the development of African basketball, let's mention Joel Embiid, who is born and raised in Africa, moved to the United States when he's 16 and becomes an MVP. If there's something to celebrate about African basketball, it's Joel Embiid. As long as we're going to take a look at something that's pulled out of this, but just looking at this, what he said, he is correct. LeBron James is not the player that he was when he was going to 8 straight finals. Steph Curry, he's great, but not necessarily the player he was when they won, 4 championships in that 8 or 9 year span there. Kevin Durant, he got swept in the first round. This is not the guy who won 4 scoring titles and in the MVP award. These guys are past their tippity top prime for sure. And when you look at a LeBron James, his greatest and most athletic basketball is indeed behind him. LeBron would admit that. These are, he leads teams trying to get out of the play-in, no longer trying to get out of the Eastern Conference. But what I think is important in terms of this team is he's still absolutely the ambassador of the sport globally. When I'm in Abu Dhabi and I see these people react to LeBron James, first time and only time probably he's ever going to come play there. When I see these jerseys throughout, you go to a mall in England, basketball is not popular here. You find whose jerseys are for sale. it's number 23 in the Laker colors. It's number 23 in the Cavs colors. I see people wearing his high school jersey in various places in the world. I change planes at international airports overseas, and you see LeBron jerseys. He isn't the greatest that he ever has been. He's still incredible. And as I said, with the game on the line, Steve Kerr, a Hall of Fame coach, says, LeBron, bring us home. And LeBron brings us home. And so I think all of it is accurate and all of it is remarkable.
You think it's fair or foul what he had to say, Stephen A?
No, I think it's fair. I just think that it's how can I put this? It's like he's managing expectations, and I don't like it. You know, it's like, you know,
who's managing expectations?
Joel Embiid. LeBron James is sensational, and LeBron James is so incredible for the game of basketball because, remember, the man's brilliance can't be denied. But it's not just as a basketball player. It's as a businessman. It's as an ambassador. It's about all those things. When we want stars, we want what LeBron James gives us. It's the bright lights. It's the marquee. It's knowing that you're the guy everybody's coming to see and you answer the call. That is what superstars are made of. You got a lot of guys that have superstar talent. They're not superstars mentally because they don't embrace what LeBron embraces, what the Kobe's embraces, what the MJ's embraced and all of that other stuff. They don't embrace it. They say they want it, but they don't embrace it. LeBron is one of those guys that do. When I think about Joel Embiid, I think Joel Embiid is in the conversation as one of the greatest talents as a big man we've ever seen in the history of basketball.
But he's got to stay healthy.
Right? But he's 0-5 lifetime in conference semifinals appearances. He's never been to a conference finals. He's never been to a finals. When he was in college at Kansas, he couldn't play in the Big 12 in the NCAA tournament because of a back injury. And so here you are on the Olympic stage. All I'm saying is this. You're going for the gold. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear all that. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear about, you know what I'm saying? I don't want to hear about, we're not what you think we are. We're this on paper, but we're really, really not. Nah, that might be true, Harry. I'm not saying he's lying now.
I'm going to push back, though.
I'm not saying he's lying.
I'm gonna push back.
I'm just saying for me, I don't want to hear that. I want to hear that after you win. You know what I'm saying? After you win. Or I want to hear that from somebody else who has won. But you? No. I need you to be that dude that you are when you healthy so you can dominate and bring it home. That's what I need.
Where are you on this as a former professional athlete?
Well, here's my thing. When I look at all the teams that's in the pools and that's involved in this Olympics, when I look at a LeBron James, how many players involved in this entire thing are you taking over LeBron James, Stephen A?
How many players am I taking over LeBron James?
Are you taking LeBron James?
I'm not taking anybody.
Okay.
Yeah.
How many players are you taking over Steph Curry?
Oh, nobody. Greatest shooter God ever created.
How many are you taking over Kevin Durant?
Nobody.
Okay. So when you look at what Joel Embiid is saying, I understand these guys are getting older, but at the same time, when I'm looking at the roster for the USA Olympics team, it's better than what everybody else has.
Yeah.